This is how to make .com scenarios let the creative team manage more than 100 ad creatives per month without losing track of a single one. Hey, I'm Victor. I build automations for seven-figure businesses, and today I want to break down one of my most complex systems, which contains the integration of Notion and Airtable using make.com as a glue to produce a creative pipeline for an e-commerce brand that produces all their creatives in-house, and they wanted a reliable way to track and to basically navigate Notion and Airtable. Notion for the creative strategists, as they prefer its flexibility and writing surface, and operations preferring Airtable as it has relational tables, automations, and other functionalities that enable us to keep track of things in a better way. So I'm going to start off with going over the structure and the architecture. We are going to be using Notion as the place where our creative strategists live. This is where they're going to be inserting all of the different ideas and the main topics of every single ad that's going to be created. As you can see here, we are going to be having different topics here for the different scripts, and they will be able to assign the creative strategists over here. They will be able to take a look at the different products. Currently, we have 3 products that we're working with: the angle, the script type, whether it's an ideation or an iteration. An ideation script means that this script is being done and deployed for the first time. An iteration is just another variation of something that we've already done before. We are going to have the type of funnel, the awareness, and many other aspects here that are being tracked. We're also going to track if UGC is needed or not. We're going to be able to monitor the costs, the duration, and anything in between. This base was also configured by me, and we have different views here that allow us to keep track of different scripts. We have views for specific products. We have views for UGC specifically. We have views for the overall script database, etc., etc. But this is just the main view. Then we're going to have the actual operations layer, which is hosted in Airtable, of course. Here we are going to be mainly working in 2 tables, the videos and the statics. Videos is the table which stores all of our video ads. You can also take a look at over here. Here we have video or static ads in the creative type. So we are going to be taking a look at the videos tab right now. Here, similar concepts apply. We are going to be actually crafting the creative name based on a formula that's going to pull from many different columns and the contents inside of here. A lot of the actual things that we have in Notion are going to be directly transferred, like the landing pages, for example, the creative type, the script types, and the other stuff is going to be added here by the actual editors and the people who work on this, such as the status here that's independent of Notion. We're going to have a link to Notion, and the idea here is that whenever someone actually marks a specific idea as sent to Airtable, we are going to now take a look at the automation layer in make.com. This scenario is going to do most of the heavy lifting by basically transferring everything from Notion to Airtable with all the reformatting that goes into that. And we're also going to have another smaller scenario which will watch any changes that occur in Airtable, and whenever specific statuses get marked. For example, here we are going to be watching for statuses working on it and launched. We're just going to mirror that in our Airtable to make sure that both sources are linked. We don't need another link from Notion to Airtable, because the only time that actual ads get moved to Airtable is whenever the status is moved. So that is why. And now I'm going to do a comprehensive breakdown of the make flow here. So everything starts with a webhook that gets triggered whenever a status in Notion is marked as sent to Airtable. Then we're going to be pulling the contents of the actual database item. In this case, that's going to be all variables, and also the actual content that lives inside of the description. So that would be over here, if I can open it. Yep, that will be this description over here. This is important for us to actually determine the separation, how many variations we want, and the themes of the variations themselves. After that, we are going to do some formatting here using code. And here is another design choice, which is quite universal and very important for these types of workflows. Whenever someone actually puts a value here in any of the dropdowns that doesn't exist in Airtable, this is going to break the flow. So how I worked around this is for the variables that get changed very often. So angles and landing pages, these two get changed quite often, and new ones are being added constantly. What we are going to do is we have a lookup table, which is going to store all of the current ones. And whenever we actually get something added here, we are going to be checking those lookup tables. If we find something, we just pull it and we add it to the corresponding row. For example, here you see the landing pages, and you also see the angles, which should be over here. Yep. And if we don't find them, we are going to add the new entry inside of the lookup table and then add it automatically. So this has probably saved us a lot of errors that were happening beforehand because of this, and it has been resolved by this design choice. Then here, to make this as simple as possible, we are going to be separating them in two paths, video ads and static ads. We are going to then separate everything into ideations or iterations. I explained the difference, but an ideation is a new idea that hasn't been done before, and an iteration is going to be an idea that is repurposed and packaged for a new rollout. So for an ideation, we have to pull the last video number, the headline ID, and the lead ID. This is just what the client prefers to use in their naming conventions and how they actually go about producing these ads. So if I take a look over here, you will see the headline ID and the lead ID. Each specific ad is only going to have one of these, so it's either or. And what we do is we are just going to pull the last record to get the last ID for the lead and for also the headline. Then we are going to feed everything into a GPT module, and its entire purpose will be to actually separate everything in terms of how many ads we want, the number of variations, to also take a look at the past numbers, whether that's the video number, the headline ID, or the lead ID, and output the new ones that are updated. So it's pretty simple instructions, but there are a lot of things that go into that because it has to separate the number of variations. It also has to provide the video ID, the headline ID, and the lead ID. And then after that, we're going to iterate over this array that the OpenAI module produced. And we are going to add it to our Airtable as the final product, which is now ready for us to start working on. And we can mark it as complete. We can work over the statuses, we can assign the editors, and we can move forward with the rest of the system. If we have an iteration, we will have to pull the last video and the last ad, just like in the ideation. The difference here is that we have a pretty big database with older variations that were used beforehand. So we want to be able to pull from them as well in case that we want to repurpose one of those. That's why here we have the new database and we also have the old database. And besides that, the logic is exactly the same, but we wanted to make sure that we can also pull from the old one as well. And here for the statics, again, this exact same pattern. This is just adding everything to this table, and we're using the old dashboard for the old creatives as well. This is pretty much the design pattern. Something else that we need to mention here is that we have an error handler, which is going to basically take a look at the error and send us a notification on Slack. It's going to analyze what went wrong likely, and here I have some instructions that pretty much break down all of the different errors that we might get. And this way, it's easy for us to manage everything and to take a look at what actually went wrong and to have a notification in Slack. Something else that is more of a quality of life improvement, of course, is we store every single make.com run over here in the Airtable so that it's very easy. If something is not going the way we want it to, we can just take a look at the actual run, and it's a lot easier to debug this way instead of taking a look inside of the make.com UI, which can be a complete nightmare, to be honest. The second scenario is this one. This is quite simple. We are going to be firing a webhook from Airtable whenever a specific status changes. Then we're going to pull the record and we're going to match that to our Notion database item. we are going to be matching it based on the ID, which is again stored in Airtable. This is something else that needs to be kept in mind whenever you're syncing to different sources, whether that's Notion or Airtable, ClickUp to Monday.com or whatever else. It's very useful to keep the ID stored somewhere in a custom field or in a URL, whatever it is, so that we can very easily map the two data sources and find them and update them as we see fit. And then we're going to pull the item based on the different statuses. As you can see, we're going to have working on it, launched. This is for different workflow. That is an expansion. And then we're going to update it. We also have error handlers here. And pretty much this is how the entire system functions. I would like to go over some of the results that the system produces. We are able to actively manage over 100 creatives per month just by using this type of structure, and it makes it very convenient. It saves tens of hours every single week on management or going over things, data being lost between different stages. When we have a database like this, everything is being stored in one specific place, and it's so much easy to keep track of it and to actually follow through with everything that's required to produce the creative. If you want me to build this for you, you can check my website. I have my calendar over there and some more information of exactly what I do. If you're interested in any other types of integrations, AI, anything else, again, make sure to reference that. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of educational content there as well, and you can message me directly. And if you like this video and if it was useful for you, please subscribe to the channel and like it. And I'm going to be putting out a lot more content coming soon. So yeah, talk to you soon and have a good day.